This isn't just a story, it's a cry from the soul of nature. The savannah was never silent, but silence wasn't the real threat. The real danger came cloaked in sounds that were twisted, unnatural, laughter, yes, but not the laughter of joy or innocence. No, this was the cruel, cackling symphony of predators. And for one tiny gorilla, this laughter wasn't a joke, it was a death sentence. His small fist pounded the muddy earth, lungs raw from the fire of fear, feet slipping on roots in wet ground. The jungle around him was a blur, a smear of greens and browns rushing past his wide, tear-rimmed eyes. Behind him, 5 hyenas, not just chasing hunting. Their bodies moved like oil through water, powerful and practiced. Their spotted hides flickered between the trees like flames in a windstorm. They weren't playing, they weren't confused. They were certain. The kind of certainty only predators have. And he was only a child alone, a child with no chance. The world collapsed into a single scream caught in his throat. He could hear them. The chilling, unhinged laughter, the kind that didn't just mock, it devoured. But before this moment of nightmare, there was something else. Something beautiful. Something sacred. To understand how terror came to reign, you have to see what was stolen first. He will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge. An animal is calling. Will you answer? Just hours earlier, the world was different. A living canvas of golden grass, scattered clouds, and the scent of acacia bark carried on the breeze. The sun didn't just shine, it caressed. In a quiet corner of the African plains, an ancient grove stood like a temple. The acacia trees towered, their limbs twisted by time but full of grace. Here, in this sanctuary carved by nature's own hands, a family of gorillas moved in harmony. The silverback watched from a perch of dappled sunlight, his gaze like stone unmoving, impenetrable yet brimming with silent love. Below him, the mothers foraged, gathering leaves with the gentle diligence only a peaceful life can teach. Among them tumbled the young, their world painted in innocent chaos. Our little protagonist, the smallest of the troop, was a blur of joy. He laughed without caution, danced without rhythm. Every vine was a swing, every bug a puzzle, every breath a gift, and always his mother was nearby. Her presence was his universe, her heartbeat, the background music of his life. But fate has a way of whispering at the edges. It begins subtly. A flash of color, a flicker in the wind. In this case, it was a butterfly. Blue, brilliant, a living jewel. It danced through the trees, weaving through shafts of golden light. And the little gorilla followed. He didn't think, just ran. His mother reached for him, too late, and just like that, he was alone. Curiosity is not the enemy of safety until it pulls us from the arms of love. Humans are waiting. Prepare yourself for the wild to change your heart. The tall grass waved like an ocean of gold, each blade a whisper. He skipped through, it still laughing. The butterfly led him further out of the grove, beyond the sounds of his family, into a realm where the only witness was silence. And silence hides many things. In the rustle of the grass, something else moved. Not wind, not wonder, but hunger. Predators don't announce themselves. They don't need to. And the hyenas had waited patiently. The butterfly vanished, as butterflies do, its job done. The child now stood at the edge of a muddy watering hole, his feet splashed, his hands clapped. Droplets sparkled around him like diamonds. Pure joy, innocent, unfiltered, radiant joy. A moment that should have lived forever. But that's the cruel alchemy of the wild. Joy and terror share borders. The grass parted, slowly. 5 shadows emerged, not just bodies, but symbols of dread. They didn't roar, they didn't lunge, they simply appeared, their eyes locked on him. Their snarls low and steady, like the earth itself was growling. They moved in a circle, like dancers rehearsed in death. His joy snapped like a twig beneath a boot. The air changed. Still, thick, cold, the circle tightened. A trap drawn in silent choreography, and then they charged. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. The world exploded. His little feet slipped on the wet edge of the waterhole. His arms flailed. A scream of real, unfiltered cry from his lungs. He turned and ran. Back. Toward the trees. Toward his mother. Toward memory. But memory couldn't save him now. The ground shook with the thunder of hyena paws. Their teeth glinted. Their laughter mocking, echoing rose like a spell meant to shatter hope. He ran, mouth open in sobs. He had never run like this. Never imagined fear could stretch a moment so thin. Behind him, the lead hyena was gaining, its breath hot and foul. The child stumbled, caught himself, kept going. But every second was another step the predators didn't waste. One slip. One falter, that's all it would take. And that's when fate froze. A still frame in a story of survival. A photograph. Waiting to be taken. The baby gorilla, mid-sprint, his entire body flung forward in desperation. Behind him, 5 shadows gaining, their jaws wide, their eyes locked. The very image of death in pursuit. But in every story written in pain, there is a moment where the page can turn. If the soul reading it is willing, hope is not found in safety. It's found in the run, when everything says give up, and you still keep going. This isn't just a story, it's a cry from the soul of nature. It was over. That single breath, that final heartbeat before pain, was all the baby gorilla had left. The lead hyena had lunged, jaws open. A fortress of bone and muscle and instinct, zeroing in on the trembling child. There was no more time. No more running. No more hope, and then a sound, not a scream, not a growl. Something deeper, primal. The very soul of the savannah cracked open and roared. It wasn't rage, it was command. A roar so thunderous it carved through the air like lightning through dark skies. Everything stopped. Even the wind seemed to stagger under the weight of it. Dust lifted, leaves trembled, and the 5 hyenas froze mid-stride, their eyes widened in disbelief. It wasn't a sound they feared, it was the sound. The one every creature of prey in the wild knows before they know their own name. The voice of the lion. The lead hyena skidded back, ears flat, confused and suddenly very, very afraid. They turned as one, snarling and whipping their heads to the left. And, from the brush dense and clawed with thorns he emerged. A lion. Not just any lion. A king in every sense. Massive, majestic, his mane a crown of wind-blown fire. His shoulders heavy with the weight of sovereignty. He didn't charge, he didn't need to. Every step he took was thunder wrapped in velvet. His golden eyes locked. Onto the hyenas not with bloodlust but with purpose. He wasn't there to feed. He was there to shield Dot, and in that instant, the world rewrote itself. A baby gorilla stood trembling, alone, and between him and 5 bloodthirsty predators, a lion had chosen to stand, defend the weak and the fatherless, uphold the cause of the poor and the oppressed. An animal is calling, will you answer? But the day wasn't done surprising us. No, fate wasn't finished composing its symphony of the miraculous. Because from the shaded grove of ancient acacias, where it had all begun, the earth moved. It wasn't wind. It was something deeper. Like drums, like thunder wrapped in flesh. A series of deep, guttural calls erupted from the trees, followed by the rhythmic pounding of fists against chests. The gorillas were coming. Not silently, not subtly, but like a storm that remembers it has power. The trees shook. Branches snapped, and then they appeared. 4 adult gorillas, massive and furious, their eyes blazing with wrath, their muscles coiled like ropes of fury. They didn't come to fight, they came to claim. This wasn't just a rescue. It was a reckoning, and leading them unchallenged, unstoppable, was the silverback. The same sentinel of peace now transformed into the embodiment of rage. He didn't hesitate, he didn't falter. He was a bullet of flesh and thunder. And the hyenas now stood between 2 tidal waves, the lion on one side, the gorillas on the other. The predators were now the prey, a pincer of pure justice. This wasn't nature breaking its rules. This was nature defining its rules. When the innocent are threatened, even ancient rivals become protectors. The righteous are as bold as a lion. Humans are waiting. Prepare yourself for the wild to change your heart. What happened? Next defied science, it defied instinct. It defied everything we've been told about how the animal kingdom works. Because lions and gorillas, they're not friends. They don't form alliances, they exist in different realms of the wild. One rules the plains, the other, the forest. And yet, in this sacred pocket of earth, these two titans, these two kings stood together for a single purpose, to protect the voiceless. Why? It's a question without a clean answer. Some say it was misdirected paternal instinct. Others call it a rare moment of animal empathy. But perhaps, just perhaps, it was something more. Something holy? Something we'll never quite understand. The hyenas had no chance. Their snarls dissolved into whimpers. Their bodies, once sleek with confidence, now shook with confusion and fear. They turned, tails tucked, hearts thudding with dread, and vanished into the tall grass like shadows retreating before dawn. The laughter was gone. All that remained was silence. Not emptiness. Not stillness, a sacred silence. The kind that only follows the miraculous. The baby gorilla, still trembling, eyes wide with unshed tears, turned first to the lion, whose body stood like a statue of divine justice, then to the trees. And from them, his family, his mother. She didn't yell, didn't punish, she ran to him. Collapsing beside her son, she pulled him to her chest with the strength of eternity. She held him, rocked him, touched her forehead to his in a gesture older than language. A ritual of forgiveness, of safety, of unbreakable love. I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have drawn you with unfailing kindness. The lion did not move. He stood still, observing. His tail flicked once, twice, and then the silverback stepped forward, slowly, calmly, not in challenge but in reverence. 20 feet of golden grass lay between them. No words. No growls, no displays of dominance. Just two leaders, two guardians. Two souls shaped by duty and love. The silverback nodded, low, slow, deliberate, and the lion blinked, not just any blink. A slow blink, the feline sign of ultimate peace. Treaty written not in ink, but in trust. Then, as silently as he'd come, the lion turned and walked away. His paws barely whispered against the ground. He didn't look back. He didn't need to. He had done what he came to do. And the world would remember it. In a time when even humans struggled to show unity. Here in the wild, without language, without reason, two species had forged a moment of compassion so profound it would echo through eternity. Because strength isn't just about who can dominate. It's about who chooses to defend. Because courage isn't just what you summon for yourself. It's what you offer to the vulnerable. And because love is not limited by blood, by species, or by fear. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never fails. And so, in the golden hush of the savannah, where life is often measured in the space between predator and prey, something impossible unfolded, something holy. A baby gorilla, once seconds from death, now cradled safely in his mother's arms. A lion, king of a kingdom not his own, choosing compassion over conquest. And a silverback, eyes still blazing, offering silent thanks across a divide older than time. This wasn't just survival. This was transcendence. In a world that too often feels divided by species, by fear, by instinct, this day stood as proof that the wild still remembers how to love. That even in the rawest corners of earth, where tooth and claw rule the law, mercy still breathes, because sometimes the strongest creatures are not the ones who dominate, but the ones who protect. And sometimes the loudest message isn't spoken in words or roars, but in a single choice, made at the edge of violence. The choice to shield. The choice to unite. The choice to love the vulnerable no matter who they are. If this moment shattered something inside you, let it break you open in the best way. Because these aren't just animals, they are reminders that empathy is not a weakness. It is the greatest strength of all. This was never just a rescue. It was a revelation, and in that revelation we are called to be better just like them.